Have you ever actually stopped to think about the screen you're probably holding right now? I mean, it's just this flat piece of glass, right? But somehow, it knows exactly what you want it to do with just a simple tap or a swipe. It feels like magic. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and find out how touchscreens really work. So that's the big question, isn't it? How in the world does your phone know with pinpoint accuracy that you tapped on that specific app icon and not the one right next to it? Well, we're about to find out. The answer is hiding in plain sight, right underneath that glass.
You know, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Touchscreens are absolutely everywhere. They're in our pockets, on our wrists, in our cars, at the bank, heck, even on our refrigerators now. They become this totally universal way we talk to our tech.
Now, you might think this is all brand new technology, but it's not. The first touchscreens date all the way back to 1965, used for air traffic control of all things. But let's be real, the moment that changed everything for us was 2007. That's when the first iPhone came out and introduced multi-touch to the world, making the whole experience feel just effortless.
Okay, so to really get how this all works, we've got to peel back the layers. The best way to picture a modern touchscreen is to think of it like a really smart, transparent sandwich. It's got a bunch of different layers all stacked together, each with a super important job.
So let's break down that sandwich. Right on top, you have the tough, protective glass that you're actually touching. Just beneath that is the most important ingredient, a super thin, transparent layer that conducts electricity and holds a constant electrical charge. Under that, there's a sensor grid, kind of like a piece of graph paper. And at the bottom of it all, you've got the controller chip, the brain of the whole operation. And that brings us to the secret sauce. The magic behind pretty much every single smartphone out there today is a principle called capacitance. If you understand this one concept, you've basically cracked the code. Okay, so here's the deal. That conductive layer we talked about creates this invisible, stable electric field across the whole screen. Think of it like the perfectly still surface of a lake. Now, your body naturally conducts electricity, so when your finger gets close to the screen, it disrupts that field, like a pebble dropping into the lake. The screen doesn't feel you, it senses the electrical disturbance you create. And this is where we have to bust a really common myth. I'm sure you've heard it before. The idea that screens are responding to the heat from your fingertips.
Yeah, that's just not true. It has absolutely nothing to do with heat. The reality is, it's all about conductivity. Your body can carry an electrical charge. That's why a plastic pen won't work and why you can't use your phone with regular gloves on. They're insulators. They don't mess with that electric field. So remember, it's conductivity, not heat.
Now, capacitive technology is king today, for sure. But it's not the only way to build a touchscreen. Let's take a quick look at some of the other methods, because it kind of helps you appreciate why the one in your phone is so good.
Before the iPhone, most touchscreens were resistive. You remember them, right? The ones at the ATM or the post office that you really had to press hard on. They worked by physically pushing two layers together. You could use a stylus or a gloved finger, but they felt clunky. And here's the key: no multi-touch. The move to capacitive was a game changer because it was so sensitive and could track multiple fingers at once. That's what gave us pinch to zoom.
So yeah, just to round it out, these are the four main players. You've got capacitive, which we know, resistive, which uses pressure. Some screens use a grid of infrared light beams that your finger breaks when it touches down, and others even use sound waves that get absorbed by your touch. They all have their pros and cons, but for our phones and tablets, capacitive is the undisputed champ.
Okay, so the screen knows your finger is there, and it knows where it is. What happens next? How does that little disturbance on an electric field turn into opening an app? Well, it's a lightning-fast journey from your touch to a digital command.
It all happens in a flash. Step 1, your finger disrupts the field. Step 2, that controller chip, the brain, instantly calculates the exact X and Y coordinates of the touch. Step 3, it zips that location data to the device's main operating system. And finally, Step 4, the OS looks at the coordinates and goes, aha, that location is the Photos app, and boom, it launches it. And here's the really wild part. That entire four-step process, from your finger hitting the glass to the app starting to open, has to happen in under 100 milliseconds. That's less than the blink of an eye. If it took any longer, our brains would actually notice the delay. The fact that it feels instant is just an incredible feat of engineering.
So that's how it all works today. But where is this technology heading? The simple tap has been amazing, but it's really just the beginning. The future of touch is about making our interactions feel way richer and more real.
I mean, we're already seeing flexible and foldable phones, which is awesome. But the next big thing is advanced haptics, making you feel different textures right through the glass with tiny, precise vibrations. We're also getting fingerprint sensors built right into the display, and even touchless gestures where you just wave your hand. The really futuristic stuff involves using ultrasound to let you feel virtual buttons and sliders floating in mid-air.
And that kind of leaves us with this one final mind-bending thought. For decades, we've been interacting with computers by poking at a flat, lifeless surface. But what happens when that surface can poke back? What if you could actually feel the texture of a sweater you're shopping for online, right through the screen? That's where we're headed, and it's going to completely change our relationship with technology all over again.